Yeah.
Now to the NBA, and the Thunder beating the Spurs 122-113 last night to even that West final. This is going to be a good one. It's tied at 1-1. We don't expect anything different. Shai Gilgeous looks like the MVP with 30 points. How about the Thunder? They have not lost back-to-back playoff games since 2024 in the West semis against Dallas. Got a 9-game win streak since then, and that hasn't changed since 2012, 2014 when the Heat did so, as we welcome in our NBA analyst Danny Green and Iman Shumpert. So, Iman, I'm going to start with you. The Thunder limit Wemby to 21 points in Game 2 after he scored 41 in Game 1. What did you like about OKC's defense? What they did to him to make things hard?
Well, they always are up to pressure. They are always making guys protect the catch when receiving the basketball. But the main thing that they did is they kept Wemby engaged. There were no free runs to set ball screens. There was no free run to just do anything that you wanted to do on the floor. Everything came with a bump. Everything came with 2 hands on your chest, a forearm to your chest. Even that, you see a little rib grabs and pushes. Anytime they could, they got him to the floor. They just decided you're not going to roam free anymore. When you roam free, you're allowed to influence the game in way too many ways, and they just limited his ways that he can influence the game by staying physical. The good thing about that is Wemby is going to be able to now look at the film, see those spots that they picked to do that to him, and try and keep himself free to be able to move around and be an asset for his team.
Yeah, all the greats do, man. They're going to figure out ways. You can't throw a steady diet of anything at him. So Isaiah is going to be physical. I'm sure the referees will try to clean that up, and San Antonio will probably send in a tape. But if they're going to be this physical with him and allow him to bump them and grab and hold, I worry about his fatigue and the minutes that he's playing. Him having to play close to 50 minutes in Game 1 and this amount of minutes in Game 2, that energy that he has to get put back rebounds of his own shot, they're going to be very much a lot less in Games 4, 5, and 6 if he has to continue this up. So OKC's doing a great job of being physical with him. And the minutes that he has to play, especially with guys being down, it could be a fatigue factor for this group in Games 4, 5, and 6.
And it was clear he was getting frustrated with the physicality, and that's going to be something to watch as we embark on what appears to be a 7-game series. Danny, injuries, they're going to be a big part of the story in Game 2. Jalen Williams left the game in the first quarter with a left hamstring injury, the same injury that caused him to miss 6 games in these playoffs already. So, Danny, if he has to miss any time, what is the impact on what the Thunder can do?
This is going to be a huge drop for them. They're going to have to find ways to make it a lot easier on SGA. A.J. Mitchell is going to have to emerge again and be that second ball handler because J-Dub releases a lot of pressure for that group, offensively and defensively. He's another big guard that can guard Wemby, guard out on the floor, be effective, get in passing lanes, run the floor, get easy offense. And offensively, he can start the offense for you and make plays so SGA doesn't have to take the bulk of the load. But with him being out, it's going to be a lot easier for the San Antonio Spurs to trap him, hone in on him, lock in, and make it harder for him. So it's going to take a lot of other guys to step up and try to emerge and make the game easier on SGA.
Yeah, on the other side, Iman, Dylan Harper left the game in the third quarter with a hamstring injury, and they haven't even had De'Aaron Fox for the first 2 games of this series. So if Harper misses time, how does that change the series?
I think it changes tremendously. I think Dylan Harper is one of, just the key players in this series. You talk about a guy that plays efficient, but also doesn't need a lot of touches, doesn't need play calls called for him. He kind of breaks defense down and does things throughout a game that you can only see as positive because you're really reliant on other guys on your team to do certain things. And he relieves pressure. He finds ways to get steals. He's always there for an offensive rebound. He always can break down his defender and get to the rim to finish with either hand and get people in foul trouble. So he's one of those game-changing guys that if he's down and he is not available, the San Antonio Spurs will have to dig from somewhere else to replace him.
And there is space in between games, so maybe that'll help them get healthy in a series that, again, we believe could go the distance. That's last night. I want to talk about tonight. Cavs-Knicks Game 2 right here, ESPN, 8 p.m. Eastern. Cleveland, they got outscored 44-11 at the end of the game in an all-time collapse. Danny, what can the Cavs do to get that taste out of their mouth, bounce back, and tie the series tonight?
It's going to start with their leadership, their coaching staff, James Harden, and mainly for me, Donovan Mitchell, his approach and his mindset for this next game. Can they put this last game behind them and approach this game like Detroit in Game 7? Don's got to be a facilitator, like how he came out that aggressive in that Game 7. If he's in the paint attacking like he was then, he'll open up the floor for everybody. Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, everybody will eat, and himself, he'll score as well. But then you'll see Sam Merrill, Max Strus, like they'll get open looks. But it starts with Don and him being aggressive and attacking the paint If he does that, they can turn the series around.
Hey, just be who you were really for the entire game until the 40+11 run that got the Knicks back in it. And Iman, that run that I talked about was because the Knicks struggled for most of game one, albeit they got the win. So what do they have to do tonight to kind of get off to a better start so they don't need another historic comeback?
I think just continuing on that momentum that they left off with in game one, they figured it out. The great thing about being in the playoffs and having those games that don't particularly look as good. You know, I saw fans kind of leaving the Garden early, trying to beat the traffic at the end there, and just kind of threw in the towel on the team. You see this happen all the time, but if you can figure it out and go into a game two knowing you have home court advantage and say, hey, we didn't even play our best basketball. We figured out how to win. You start to write your own story and start that feeling that no matter what, we are always in a game. No matter what, we can always come together and we can figure it out. Even if we don't have the prettiest version or the best version of ourselves come forward, we can still figure it out, because if we do get rolling, which I think they will get rolling, being game two is usually that adjustment game that you see the home court advantage really kick in. With this being game two, I'm just expecting New York to get rolling early and often.
Listen, this could be prisoner of the moment, but I think both of these conference finals are going to be absolutely outstanding to watch the rest of the way. One more thing before we get you out of here. LeBron James, he's a free agent, and on his Mind the Game podcast today, he talked about when he could decide on his future. That sounds new on SportsCenter. Take a listen.
Yeah, I'm still in the moment of like just taking my time and saying I haven't even really thought about it too much. Obviously, I understand that I'm a free agent and I can control my own destiny. If being here with this franchise for the foreseeable future, or if it's going somewhere else. But like, I haven't even really got to that point. I haven't even taken my family vacation yet, which is going to happen after Memorial Day. That's kind of the thing at the forefront of my mind. But I think at some point, up until, up in June, late June, as July rolled around, free agency starts to, gets going, and July rolling, and maybe into August, we start to kind of like get a feel of, what my future may look like. If it's continuing to play the game that I love, which I know I can still give so much to the game and play at a high level, or if it's not. So, but I have not got to that point yet. And when I get there, it'd be fun to kind of see what the future could hold.
But first, a lot of golf for LeBron. That's coming. Reaction, Danny, you start.
He just doesn't want to be bothered with the questions right now. He doesn't want to think about it right now. It's his time to relax. He's like, we'll get to it when July happens. I think he said later in that show, August, he's going to be one of the first free agent signs in that first week of July. And right now, he just doesn't want to continue to be asked about it or think about it. But we know that he's going to enjoy his offseason, enjoy his family, and that he wants to be at home with his family in LA, and that might not happen. It might be in Cleveland. But he's going to come back for another year, which we never expected him to play this long. But he's amazing at what he's done, and he's proven me and many others time and time again wrong that he can play, another 4 or 5 more years. So we don't even know how many more years left he will play, but we're just assuming this is his last year coming up. But, we'll see what that happens in July.
Yeah, I'm just happy to see that LeBron finished healthy. He finished out healthy. He's still playing basketball. Hey, I'm all smiles over here. I don't really have much of a reaction. I think it's very politically correct and fitting for LeBron to keep giving us the same thing that he's been giving us all season. I don't know when I know. You guys will know. I'll take his word for it.
All right, we'll wait for a decision. It might come soon. It might not. Who knows? We have all summer. Gentlemen, great stuff. Thank you.
To another West final.
Molly and Matt back with you. What a game. Call it the Cavalier crumble, the New York moment, whatever you have. We're calling it because game one featured one of the best comebacks in playoff history. Knicks going on a 44-11 run after trailing by as many as 22 points in the fourth quarter. The Knicks now look to continue their playoff heater and become the 13th team in NBA history to win 9 straight games in a single playoff run. 11 of the previous 12 went on to make the finals, by the way. And Cleveland going to be fighting an uphill battle as teams that lose game one of a best-of-7 series in the conference or divisional final have only gone on to win the series 21% of the time. As we welcome in our reporter, Jamal Collier, covering the Cavs in this series. So, Jamal, what is Kenny Atkinson saying about moving on from that shocking loss on Tuesday?
Yeah, well, he shared his philosophy that in the playoffs, you're always walking the line between misery and awesomeness. And Matt, this Cavs team has got a lot of experience with some miserable playoff losses just during this run in particular. Go back to that first round against Toronto. R.J. Barrett has that bouncing game winner in Game 6. It really kind of was a demoralizing loss for this team, and they had to bounce back and respond. Same thing in the second round, Game 6, a chance to close out the Pistons at home, and they really just had a dud of a performance, bounce back to win a Game 7 on the road. That experience the Cavs are hoping is going to be able to really propel them forward in this. And Jared Allen actually pointed to another loss on that same floor in MS Madison Square Garden where they blew a double-digit lead on Christmas Day to the New York Knicks. And they were able to propel themselves forward and get to this spot in the finals. So the Cavs have got a lot of experience kind of picking themselves up on the other side of that line.
Yes, less misery, more awesomeness for them in Game 2. Speaking of James Harden, he's been under the microscope after that Game 1 loss. How is the team looking to help him out as these series moves forward?
Yeah, it starts with just reiterating their belief in him. And during their practice and film session yesterday, in between games, Kenny Atkinson made a point to go up to Harden and say, look, this team would have lost in the first round if you weren't here. Just the reasons they brought him in, his calm, his composure, his poise in organizing them as an offense. He just really wanted to sort of put that belief back in Harden. And they know defensively they cannot leave him on an island like they did against Jalen Brunson. Their backline defense has to be better. Their bigs have to be better. And Jared Allen said it is a team defensive effort to try to stop a guy like Brunson. They cannot leave Harden out there alone.
Cliche as it is, biggest adjustments made between Game 1 and Game 2. That's the Cavs side with Jamal. Jamal, thank you.
Now for more in this series, we have Vinny Goodwill covering the Knicks side of things. And Vinny, Jalen Brunson, huge in that fourth quarter comeback for the Knicks. What is he saying about what the team's focusing on ahead of Game 2?
Well, Molly, a lot of people are focusing on the comeback in Game 1, coming down from 22 points and taking the lead and going into overtime. Jalen Brunson is focusing on the first 3 quarters where the Knicks looked out of sync and they looked out of rhythm. He said that was the biggest takeaway. He said you can learn a lot of things in the film. Even in wins, the Knicks shot up until halftime was 4 of 21 from 3-point range. That enabled the Cavs to take a big lead, control the game until the fourth quarter. He says the fourth quarter largely was a blur, but he remembers the first 3 quarters, and the Knicks have just found a way to work themselves into a position where they have become a great comeback team this season.
Now, one of the Knicks who will be looking to improve is Josh Hart. He was minus 23 in Game 1. So what's he saying about his approach to Game 2?
Maya, a lot of that was in the first half when the Knicks were out of sync, but shooting 1 of 5 from 3, being able to have teams play off of him. He said, I have to continue shooting my shots. If I'm open, I've got to take them, but also I have to flow into better offenses as far as dribble handoffs and getting other guys open. As you can see, the Cavs, whether it was Jared Allen or Donovan Mitchell or Evan Mobley, they left him open to the essence. They were playing 4-on-5, and it was a little bit of a different change because Josh Hart has shot 40% from 3 this season, so that's why he's saying he's going to continue to take the shots because the 80-game sample size has shown he's been a capable shooter this season.
Yeah, well, a historic comeback is a historic comeback. It seems like all the momentum is on the Knicks side headed to Game 2. Vinny, thank you so much for taking the time. Now let's welcome back Iman Shumpert. Shump, what do you want to see from James Harden in Game 2 to know that he's bounced back from his Game 1 performance?
I think I just want to see a little emotion. I need to see him have some fun. James is not smiling. He's not bouncing around. There's no three-point celebrations. There's no bop, bop, bop to the step back. We need to see the rhythm. We need to see the dribbles. We need to see the flashy passing. These are all the things that James Harden is capable of doing, but when he shows them, it brings out the best in his teammates. For the Cavs to do that, he's going to need to have a big night. I don't need him to have a big night scoring. I need him to have a big night being a floor general, have a big night just understanding that if I can make sure that this team has pace, and we get quality shots every time down, that we can be in a chance of making a run at the end, because it will be a tough Game 2 sitting here on the Knicks home court now that they've gotten over that little hump of sitting out for 10 days.
Yeah, the Knicks found a ton of success attacking Harden in Game 1. We'll see if he can make a comeback tonight and maybe smile a little more. Iman, thanks so much.
You guys have owned that standard.
Looking to even the series at 1 game apiece. Matt, what you got?
Okay, Molly, thank you. The countdown continues. Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Tyler Fulgham, sports betting analyst, here to play a game that I'm telling you it's going to sweep the nation.
Yeah, is that right?
Berry picking.
Boy, that's
my last name.
That one looks a little, I don't know.
Well, we got to work on two, by the way. They found a picture that just kind of accentuates the crow's feet. We'll do that a little bit later. Now you know I don't do Botox.
Passed right.
All right, you're going to give me 3 choices to make a bet. Barry's going to pick, and you're going to tell me whether you like it or not. See?
I see
All right,
now.
what's my first option in Barry picking?
Let's find out what Barry wants to pick here. 3 different New York Knicks, 3 different point props. 30-plus points for Brunson, 20-plus for Towns, 15-plus for Bridges. You see the prices.
Yeah.
Which Barry are you picking?
The Barry I'm picking for the first one. I know he went for 38 in game 1, which means the defense is going to clamp down in game 2. He only went for 13. I think he's in store for a big one in game 2. Karl Anthony Towns, Barry pick number 1.
I like that selection. I think you got some good Barrys there with the Knicks. You're right. Towns only had 13 points, but he shot the ball 14 times. And I also think you're right, Matt Barry. Coming off that 38 special, the Cavs defense should be focusing on Jalen Brunson. We know that Mike Brown in the postseason has tried to run the offense a little bit more through Cat. It's resulted in more assists, but this might be the game where he has to score a little bit more in the paint. So I like at plus 136. Also the best payout there of the trio, 20-plus points for Cat.
All right, Barry pick number 2, Fulgham. What are we going?
Let's go to the Cavs team. That's all Knicks. Let's go to the Cavs squad. Yeah. We got Mitchell, Harden, and Mobley, different stat categories. 4-plus triples for Mitchell, 6-plus assists for James Harden, which is minus 144, expected to do that. Or Evan Mobley, 3-plus steals and blocks combined. We call them stock. Which Barry you picking here?
All right, so here's what I don't like about this Barry pick. I didn't see the payout when I was making these picks.
Yeah.
Or I wouldn't have done it because it's going to happen. My Barry pick is James Harden, 6-plus assists in game 2 tonight.
Okay, I think that is, and it's priced as such, the most likely outcome. But the Barry I'd pick here is Evan Mobley, who has started to turn up his defensive intensity in this playoffs. He's had 5 straight games dating back to the last series against Philadelphia, where he's had 3-plus steals and blocks, and some of those were like 4, 5, 6. He's really turned up the intensity. He's going to play a lot of minutes in a game they want to get. And especially if Karl Anthony Towns is more of an offensive force trying to score near the basket, here's a guy who gets some steals and blocks also near the basket. Minus 106. I'm going to have to lay that juice with that Harden Barry.
All right, 1 Barry in my basket, 1 Barry in your basket. Let's pick one final Barry. What do you have?
These are game props. Yeah. Okay?
All right.
Cavs to pull off the upset.
Money line.
Money line plus 200.
Yep.
Knicks to win but cover as well, the 6.5. Or 20-1 that we get overtime.
All right, this is my final Barry pick, and I love this one. I think that number's a bit steep. I think it's going to be close. Okay. I don't think it's going to go to overtime. Okay. We've seen a lot of that. Okay. By default, I'm going Cavs get the coveted road split. Barry pick in the Cavs and a money line.
Okay, you know, I think they make wine, and that's the color of the Cavs jersey, out of berries. But I'm going with the Knicks.
Wow.
That's orange, right? I think the Knicks win and cover here. They've been awesome, Matt, at Madison Square Garden in this postseason. We saw how hyped MSG was during that crazy comeback. Cavs have struggled on the road.
Yeah.
Knicks 5-1 straight up, 4-2 ATS at home. I think they take a 2-0 series lead, so if I pick them to win the game, I should pick them to cover as well. I can see a world where the Cavs keep it close, but the Cavs have not been a team to trust necessarily on the road this postseason, so my favorite berry here is actually an orange, as in New York Knicks orange.
Well, first of all, oranges aren't berries. Right. Second of all, berries don't make wine. Grapes do.
Well, you can mull blue.
This is why the title of the segment is here. Berries, pick them.
That's a blueberry. That's a blackberry. Why do we have cherries in there? That's definitely not.
That's an aged raisin is what that is. Good stuff, Tyler. Thank you.